Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Hey my friend, it's Kari and welcome to episode 42. Now today I'm interviewing Joe Orlowski, who is a small business owner in the heart of the inner west. And he owns 2 hairdressing salons that are doing extremely well and have done extremely well through COVID-19. So we're going to talk about how he started in hairdressing, his love of hairdressing and how that stems back all the way back to watching his grandfather cut hair, how he's failed in business and how he's changed his business because of COVID-19. And this is where it gets really, really interesting and we can learn a lot from Joe. I think doing these interviews, it gives us an inner sense of how our communities need to change and how we need to treat each other and how our business models need to change. I really hope you enjoy it, but before, if you're new, I'm a digital strategist and with nearly 2 decades of experience in marketing and communications. For the best digital and social media tips to rank higher on Google search, subscribe to Kari Care's Digital Strategist podcast. Gosh, that's a mouthful. To make sure you never ever miss out on these updates. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this interview. Reach out with any questions you may have to Joe or myself, and I will make sure that he actually gets that so that he can answer any questions you may have for him. Please also note that the quality of this interview is a little bit different. It's not my normal quality because of COVID-19 and social distancing. So Joe, thanks so much for coming on the Kari Cares podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So I wanted to ask you, how did you start in your profession as a hairdresser and business owner?
I started in 2000. I walked along Oxford Street looking for someone that would take me on as an apprentice. I grew up in New Zealand and I tried getting into hairdressing there, but it was very difficult.
Why was that? Why was it difficult?
They wanted me to do a pre-apprenticeship course, which cost money, which money I didn't have.
Yeah.
So it was kind of out of the question. Every time I went into a shop, they were like, "Have you done your pre-apprenticeship course?" I'm like, "No." Didn't understand why you needed to do that.
Did you need to do one in Australia?
No, I walked into Tony and Guy on Oxford Street and said I'm looking to be a hairdresser, and they were like, "Let's chat." We had a chat. Apparently I asked all the right questions in the interview about education, TAFE, things like that.
Yeah. So did you do a TAFE course as well, or how did it?
It's a TAFE course during the apprenticeship. So yeah, I did an interview. They employed me and then I started TAFE.
And how long did you work at Tony and Guy?
I stayed there 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Did you?
So yeah, I did my apprenticeship, which was 4. I actually moved to England and took a 2-year break. I did hairdressing in a barber shop for about a year and then travelled Europe and then came back to Sydney in late 07, early 08, something like that, and then went back to work for them.
At Tony and Guy?
At Tony and Guy.
Yeah. And so what made you want to be a hairdresser?
My grandfather was a hairdresser, so after the war, he's Polish, so he stayed in England, ended up in Nottingham, met my grandmother, and they started a salon together. He eventually moved to New Zealand, New Plymouth, and then as a kid, I just obviously grew up a lot with him. During school holidays, he used to cut our hair. He had this brown suitcase full of scissors, clippers, combs, plastic mat that he would put on the carpet, put a chair on it, put a mirror up.
Yeah.
Cut our hair. So that was my first introduction to hairdressing, and I thought he was cool. I wanted to live up to him, be like him.
Yeah. And did you learn how to do a business through him? Is that how you learned?
No, I didn't learn how to do a business from him at all.
How did you learn to? Because I mean, you've got a thriving business. You've got 2 stores, so.
I learned basically by failing.
Failing in what way?
Just trying things. I didn't do very good at school. Didn't do very good at TAFE. I even failed hairdressing TAFE.
Did you?
I had to go back and start again, or re-enroll for another 6 months to make sure that I passed everything.
Yeah.
Just not very good in the class environment.
Yeah. Why is that, do you think?
I remember my school reports would say he looks out the window and dreams all day. But I would dream of this. I would dream of having a salon. I would dream of cutting hair, and I would dream about being like my grandfather. I don't know. I just had to find a way that I could learn myself.
So how did you learn how to run a business? Because with every creative that's out there, they have an idea, and a lot of them, including myself, can think about, we've got this great idea, but they can't implement it, and it becomes frustrating.
Yeah, it definitely was frustrating. I read a lot though. I read articles. I don't know, autodidactic is the word, I think.
Is it?
Which is basically by finding a way to learn in your own terms, or finding a way to learn in your own ways. I'm very hands-on. I can be creative with my hands, but learning a business is very difficult. So trial and error, failing, stopping, starting.
Yeah. So can you tell me an example of failing for you? That you learnt, how to make your business thrive?
I had this belief that I could build a clientele, and I remember telling somebody one day, a hairdresser I bumped into, she's like, well, why aren't you working at Tony & Guy anymore? It's like, because I have dreams of having my own place, my own salon. I said, it's not that hard to build a clientele. And she replied saying, oh, isn't it? So it got me questioning myself. I'm like, oh, okay. But I still had that belief, so I went and got an ABN and started out by renting a chair, like a booth rental, and slowly building a clientele, which actually took some time. After leaving Tony & Guy, it took a little bit of time. I was like, okay, this is more difficult than I thought, so kind of stopped and went and got another job doing something else. But obviously those dreams are still in my head. Like, how can I do this? What can I do? Ended up teaming up with a colour technician, and we started this little suite in an old hotel in King's Cross. Still not really knowing much about business, but just started somewhere. We worked hard. It got really busy. I had an ABN, and I would just invoice him. So that was my basic understanding of business. I just invoiced for the work I did.
It's a good place to start. I mean, even for myself working in corporate and stuff like that, that's what I do. I have an ABN, and it actually works out better tax-wise for other companies to use me.
So I would just spend their money. I just thought it was my money. I mean, I knew I had to pay tax, so I'd save a little bit, but I'd use that account as my spending account.
Yeah. And
then obviously going to the accountant explained to me, that's not how you do it. This is how you have a little business. So would that be your first piece of advice for someone starting a business, to get a good accountant? Definitely get a good accountant. Definitely get a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
Someone to keep your books in check.
Yeah.
I have an amazing bookkeeper. I have an amazing team right now, so we're just taking time to find that. But having a great bookkeeper is one of the most important things, I believe, in keeping your business going and running.
Okay. And do you still run under an ABN, or you've got a company?
Now we're bigger. We're a company.
Now that COVID-19's happened, and there's been a lot of fear and a lot of social distancing and all of that, how has that affected your business during and as we're phasing out, what's happened with your business model and how you see the future for hairdressing?
To be honest, it didn't affect me too much. I have a mindset that I wasn't going to let this little bug affect my business.
So in what way? Because a lot of people shut down their businesses, they freaked out, as you know, which is normal.
The first thing I did was I wanted to renew my business insurance because I didn't want to put that on hold. I wanted to renew it and make sure we were going to come out of this. And while I was on the phone to the insurance company, because I was switching insurers, and they asked me why I was cancelling my insurance. And I said, I'm just moving to a different insurance company that suits my business better. And they were like, okay, cool. We're happy to hear that, as we've had a lot of Sydney hairdressers cancel their business insurance and liquidating. So they gave me the motivation to keep going. I remember back in 2008 when we went through the financial crisis. I worked for Tony Glad then. And one thing I learned from management there was they were going to put more money into marketing so they could come out of it stronger and better. So that's one thing I did now. I remembered that. So
is that what you did with your business as well?
I called my SEO company and I'm like, I have more money to spend. Can we do more, do better, get more clients? So in the 3 months that we're going to be in lockdown, we come out of this bigger and better and stronger.
And have you?
And effectively that worked,
I think that's for the major corporations like, say, Coca-Cola and big international companies. I've been seeing that a lot. Like they've been putting more money, and even coaches, because people have been sitting at home, more coaches have been putting money into their SEO, advertising, social media ads and stuff like that. How does your business, how does Stanley & Co., how do you advertise with your SEO? What do you concentrate on?
I definitely take a lot of advice from them, but basically keywords is the SEO, so we have to come up with a bunch of keywords.
Do you use social media ads or?
We don't use social media ads. I find SEO has worked very well for us.
Okay, good.
So we kind of like stick to that. Social media plays a big part though, as far as our Instagram. But we haven't done ads. We have tried it, but SEO seems to be the way to go, and we just direct everything through our website. Funnel to the website, our online booking system's there. Our Instagram is on our page. So it depends on the demographic. Most people are, I don't know, let's say my age, 40, they still go direct to Google. But the younger generations are going to the Instagram. So
do you think that would change your business model moving forward? Like, say in 10 years, those younger generation now becoming your age, do you think they'll still look at Google, or will they, do you think it'll be more
having a website will become a bit more basic. There'll be less content on it. It'll be more of a landing page. Basic phone number, booking link button.
And booking form. Because your business, people book online, don't they?
70% of my bookings are done after hours. So it's very important for us to have an online booking system. That the phone's not ringing in the salon. People are at home, sitting on their couches. I need a hairy, so I'm going to hit up Joe, book online. I don't really talk to her.
And can they buy products online? Like you also... You've got Mr. Smith hair products. Can they buy that online from you, or
they can't buy that online from us right now? But it's definitely something
to think
look
about.
Into.
And with the COVID-19, how has that changed your business model now? I mean, are you doing shorter days, or what are you doing?
Once it hit, we broke up into smaller teams, and we ended up doing basically 4 days a week each. But over 40 hours. So we've kind of taken that model, brought the whole team together again, working Wednesday to Saturday over 40 hours.
And is that how the staff?
They love it. They get a 3-day weekend. It's taught us to slow down on our days off and have our work-life balance. And then we just get into work on a Wednesday morning and hustle for 4 days.
That sounds awesome, because I know that they're doing that model in Europe, and they have been for quite some time, and they found that productivity is better and they're actually making more money. Have you found the same?
Yeah, our productivity's, we're at like 98%.
Wow.
We're very efficient. Yeah, everyone knows their job. The job is to make their targets. I'll do it. I expect them to do it, and they'll do it because I'm doing it.
So when you say targets, what's that? Talk to me about that.
So everyone has to make 3 times their wage. If they make that, they get bonuses.
I should have become a hairdresser.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. What
Plus
a great
they have
profession.
A product, a retail product bonus target as well. So if when they hit that, they get more money.
Yeah.
So I like it when I see their pay slips and they're all getting a decent little wage at the end of the week, so
Yeah.
they can enjoy.
Do other companies do that with do other hairdressers? I've got no idea. So, and the audience probably have no idea. So, as a business model, do you think that works really well for keeping your employees happy? And
I find that, like in the past where I've worked, there's too many employees and no one can quite reach their targets. But I think that's kind of a business strategy for them, is to like have the targets out of reach. But then I just find that everyone's kind of just trying to reach out, everyone's disgruntled, no one's really happy. It creates cliques in the salon. There's too much hierarchy.
yeah,
So the culture that I wanted to create was, this is it. A creative space first, business second.
yeah.
Making sure everyone's happy coming to work, creativity.
That sounds cool, because I mean, looking at your shops, they're amazing. Like, they're really comfy to walk into and feels like coming home, you know?
Yeah, and that's the kind of vibe we want to have. Like, our clients are more of our friend, the way we speak to them, the things we remember, conversations we had before.
Yeah.
I don't know, remember everyone's names, remember the kids' names, wives, husbands' names,
Yeah.
remember the holiday that were going on. So we re-look into the conversation we had before, and everyone feels like a sense of friendship.
Wow. I think, do you think that's a good model that most businesses could follow?
Definitely, they could follow that. It would help a lot. I mean, you just want to create an environment where they're welcomed. We're very consistent.
Because it does. When you walk into your stores, it's like, hey, I'm coming home. Hey, Joe.
Yeah, and everyone knows everyone, and that's what I expect.
Yeah. Is there anything that you could, I guess, give advice to for anyone wanting to start a business in hairdressing or?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the first time we kind of failed was the little suite we had in the hotel. It eventually didn't work. We got too busy. Was mismanaged. So we had to look into, okay, I need to manage this better. I need to manage the money better, manage the systems better. And ultimately that failed. It built up to having a great clientele where we had a decent amount of money, but it just didn't work in the end.
Yeah.
Failed. We walked away from it. So just went home and had to rethink that. So again, I started in Redfern with a small studio, about 20 square meters. I dumped a mirror on the floor, a chair, and we whacked a basin in there.
Yeah.
I still had a lot of clientele from the previous business that we tried to start that didn't work. So I still had them coming in, had money coming in, but I needed to be better, find a different way. And that's when I finally did a small business course. And that was based on Ron Hubbard's business teachings. So a lot of it was to be personable, which I think I already was.
Yeah, I think you were too, but I think it's important when you start a business to learn the foundations of how to run a business, because when I speak to a lot of creatives, like I said, they've got these great ideas but they don't know how to implement it, and it's learning which business course to do that fits your demographic or your industry. So are there any business courses out there that you would recommend for hairdressers?
For me, it was basic basic business, basic bookkeeping, basic accounting skills. There's also a lot of systems you can get. Xero. It took 5 years to get all the systems in place.
Did it?
Yeah.
Is that normal?
I think so. From what I understand and talk to people, it takes 5 years for your business to be established.
And when you talk about systems, you're talking about Xero and what else?
The website, booking system.
Yeah. Your booking system can be implemented in the website these days.
Yeah. So that's a subscription-based booking system called Get Timely.
Okay.
So we plug that into the website.
Yeah.
So that one of those systems that we use, it's very important. It sends out reminder emails. You can change your appointment via the email. So that goes through, and it saves people's calendars on their phone, so they get reminders from the calendar plus a reminder from us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So our no-show rate is very low, which is important.
Is it?
Because you book in a full head of falls and a haircut, it's roughly 4 hours. That person doesn't show. It's 4 hours productivity down the drain.
Yeah.
So
do you charge for that if someone does a no-show?
If they're a new client and it's a big appointment, we'll definitely take a deposit.
Yeah.
But once they're recurring, it's very rare that they won't show, or rare that they won't call and reschedule. And we make sure we have a cancellation list that we all know we can call them.
Yeah.
And that booking is taken up pretty quickly.
Any other piece of advice that you'd like to give to a budding hairdresser or someone that's becoming one?
For me, when starting a business, I'd look at rents on salons or like shops.
Yeah.
Look at startup costs, things like that. Which was very daunting. I was fearful of it. So it's kind of like just mindset, changing the mindset to take away what you're fearing. The second business that I started, the one we're sitting in today, it cost me 10 grand. That's including bond on the business.
Yeah.
I painted it myself, did everything myself.
Yeah, looks great, by the way. Did a bang up job. Do you want to come around to my place and paint mine?
So yeah, I mean, you can do it. Literally, you got 10 grand sitting around, you can start a small business, a small salon, a small.
But isn't it the fear of, say I was a hairdresser or any store owner, right? And you start 10 grand and you get a small space and you start. What about if you don't have clientele? How do you get the clientele?
Yeah, right. So for me, I suppose I started renting the chair first. If you rent a chair somewhere, you can build your clientele and know your clientele. They don't belong to the salon.
For someone like me, so I'm a digital strategist, I can't go into another company and, rent a chair. So what's another, if you were looking at anyone that you were speaking to from any business, how would you suggest that they build their clientele?
For me, it was big time word of mouth. Second, it was making myself very visible online.
Yeah.
Personal website. Facebook was a thing back then, and slowly Instagram. So just being everywhere, whatever social media is out there, and you can make it work for you, work it. It could be Snapchat, LinkedIn, whatever, just be everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for your time. So if you want to know more about Joe, you can find the links below. I'll have links to both his hairdressing shops, which is Stanley & Co. And what's this one called?
Stanley's 117.
There you go, Stanley's 117. And I will also give you links to his social media, which is... Yeah.
The Instagram is Stanley & Co _salon for the salon. My personal one is... And my grandfather's name was Stan, so this is why my Instagram is called. This is Stanyo.
Oh, is that why it is? Oh, I thought it was some hip-hop thing.
Well, could be.
Thanks so much, Joe. That was brilliant.
Thanks, Kari, for having me.
Pleasure. Are you enjoying Kari Cares podcast? I hope you are. If you are, please subscribe to my podcast. If you're not, I want to encourage you to do this today because I don't want you to miss out on an episode. I'm adding a bunch of bonus episodes in the mix, and if you're not subscribed, there's a good chance you'll miss out on those. Now, if you're feeling extra loving, and I hope you are, I would be really grateful if you left me a review over on iTunes. Reviews help other people find my podcast, and they're also fun for me to go in and read. Just click to review, select ratings and reviews, and write a review. And remember, 5 stars for good karma. And let me know what your favourite part of this podcast is, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Also remember to share this with a friend who could use a helping hand. Why? Because Kari cares about women helping women and men who could use a helping hand. Until next time, peace.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.